This is chapter 3, Motion in a Straight Line, part 1 of class 11. In this chapter, we'll study about mechanics, that is the objects which are at rest or in motion. Okay, so in this particular part, we'll be studying about distance, displacement, speed, velocity and acceleration. Okay, now let's start with mechanics. It is the branch of physics which deals with the study of the motion of the objects, and it is classified into statics. Statics means at rest. So statics is that branch of mechanics which deals with the study of the objects at rest. Kinematics deals with the objects in motion without taking into account the cause of motion, whereas dynamics, it is the study of the objects in motion taking into account the cause of motion. So mechanics can be divided in these three types: statics, kinematics and dynamics. Statics means the study of the objects at rest. Kinematics, study of the objects in motion without taking into account the cause of motion, whereas in dynamics we study about the objects in motion taking into account the cause of motion. Now let's study when an object is said to be at rest. At rest means if it does not change its position with time, whereas an object is in motion if it changes its position with time. Okay, now this rest and motion are relative terms. That is, the same object can be at rest as well as in motion at the same time, but with respect to different observers. For example, a person sitting in a moving train is at rest with respect to his fellow passenger, but he is in motion with respect to a person who is standing outside the train. Okay, so that is why we say that rest and motion are relative terms. That is, the same object can be at rest as well as in motion with respect to different observers. Okay, also no object is at absolute rest. For example, a person sitting in his house is in motion with respect to an observer who is observing from the other planet. We say that this particular room is at rest, but along with the earth it is also in motion, as we know that the earth is rotating as well as revolving. So that room is in motion with respect to some observer who is observing from some other planet. Now let's study different types of motion. The first one, rectilinear or translatory motion. A straight line motion, we call it as rectilinear or translatory motion. Point mass or a particle moving in a straight line, that will be called as rectilinear motion. Whereas a finite size object moving in a straight line will be called in translatory motion. So it is a straight line motion. Circular or rotatory motion, a point mass or a particle moving along the circular path will be called as circular motion. Whereas the rotatory motion is in which a finite body which consists of a number of particles. All these particles are moving in the concentric circles about a fixed axis. That is called as a rotatory motion. So a point mass moving in a circular path, circular motion. A finite object which consists of a number of particles, and all these particles are performing circular motion about a fixed axis. Oscillatory or vibratory motion, a body moving to and fro or back and forth about a mean position is said to be oscillatory motion. Okay, if the amplitude is very small, then such an oscillatory motion will be called as a vibratory motion. For example, the random motion of a gas molecule, that will be called as a vibratory motion, whereas the motion of a simple pendulum is called as a oscillatory motion. So the three types of motions are the straight line motion, rectilinear or translatory motion, circular or rotatory motion, and the third one is oscillatory or vibratory motion. Let's study what is meant by point mass. If the distance traveled by the object is much greater than its size, then such an object is said to be point mass. Okay, it's not necessary that the point mass is a very small object. A huge object can also be considered as a point mass. if the distance traveled by the object is much greater than its size. For example, a train running from Kota to Delhi can be considered as a point object. Why? Because the distance traveled by the train is much greater than its size. So it can be considered as a point object. Okay, now we'll study about motion in 1 dimension, 2 dimension and 3 dimensions. Okay, 1D motion, that is the one dimension motion. If only one coordinate is needed to specify the position of a moving object, then it is called as one dimensional motion. So only one coordinate is needed to specify the position of the moving object. That is either x-axis or y-axis or z-axis. So it is a straight line motion. Example is a train moving on a straight track or an object dropped from a height. Okay, it will move due to the force of gravity, due to the gravitational force of the earth. So it will move in a straight line. So a straight line motion is one dimensional motion. Whereas two dimensional motion, if two coordinates are needed to specify the position of a moving object, that is, it is the motion in a plane. An object moving on a surface will said to be in two-dimensional motion. For example, an insect crawling over the floor is in 2D motion. The earth revolving around the sun. The third one is 3D motion. If all the three coordinates are needed to specify the position of the moving object, that is, the object is moving in space. For example, a kite flying on a windy day, all the three coordinates will be needed to specify its position. Or a random motion of a gas molecule. A gas molecule moves in the space, that is, all three coordinate axes are needed to specify its position. So the motion can be one dimensional motion, two dimensional motion or 3D motion. In 1D motion, only one coordinate is needed to specify its position, so it is a straight line motion. 2D motion, two coordinates are needed to specify its position, so it is the motion in a plane. 3-dimensional motion, all the three coordinates are needed, so it is the motion in space. Okay, now few definitions, few terms here we'll study. The first one is distance. The total path length moved by an object is called as the distance. So distance is the total path length moved by an object, and it is a scalar quantity. We know that its SI unit is meter, and the distance can never be zero or negative. Whereas the next quantity which we are going to study is displacement, which is a vector quantity, and magnitude of it is the shortest distance between the initial and the final position of the moving object. Okay, an object is moving, the shortest distance between the initial and the final position, we call it as the displacement. Okay, it is the magnitude of the displacement. Okay, as it is a vector quantity, so it has direction also, and its direction is from initial to the final position. SI unit of displacement is also meter. The displacement can be positive, 0 or negative. Okay, whereas the distance, it can never be 0, it can never be negative. It is only positive. Whereas the displacement can be positive, 0 or negative. Now let's study when is the displacement positive with an example. Let a car is moving in a straight line from A to B, covering 60 kilometers, and then from B it turns back and moves 20 kilometers, reaches a point C. So in this case, the distance moved is 60 plus 20, that is 80 kilometer. But here the displacement, the magnitude of the displacement, initial position is A, final position is C. So the shortest distance is always a straight line. So this AC distance is the displacement, is the magnitude of the displacement, which is here 40 kilometers. So the magnitude of the displacement here is 40 kilometers, and the direction is from initial to the final position, that is along AC. According to the sign convention, towards right, we take it to be positive. So this displacement will be taken as positive displacement. Okay, the displacement can also be equal to 0. When is it 0? When the object returns back to its initial position. The displacement is 0. For example, the same car moves from A to B covering 60 kilometers and returns back from B to A. So the total distance traveled is 120 kilometers. But here, as the initial and the final position are the same, the body is returning back to its initial position. So here the displacement is 0. So whenever the body returns back to its initial position, the displacement is 0. Okay, also the displacement can be negative. Let's take an example. For example, the car travels from A to B covering 60 kilometers. It returns back from B to C covering 80 kilometers. Now the displacement is the shortest distance between the initial and the final position. Initial position is A, the final position is C. So the magnitude of the displacement AC is 20 kilometers, 80 minus 60, it is 20 kilometers. But as it is pointing towards left, from initial to the final position, we take its direction as it is towards left. According to the sign convention, towards left, we take it to be negative. So the displacement here is taken as negative, that is minus 20 kilometers. So displacement may be positive, 0 or negative. Next characteristic is the magnitude of the displacement can be equal or it is less than the distance traveled. Okay, it can never be greater than the distance traveled. So the magnitude of displacement, either it is equal or it is less than the distance traveled. Let's take example and we'll try to understand. Suppose a car is moving from A to B covering 60 kilometers along a straight line. So the distance traveled here is 60 kilometers. Also, the magnitude of the displacement is 60 kilometers. Why? Because the initial position is A, the final position is B, and the magnitude of the displacement is the straight line between A and B, which is also equal to 60 kilometers. So in this example, the magnitude of displacement is equal to the distance traveled. Okay, also the magnitude of displacement can be less than the distance traveled. Let's take an example. Let a car moves towards right covering 3 kilometers, then it turns towards its left covering 4 kilometers. So here the distance traveled is 3 plus 4, that is the total path length, 7 kilometers. Whereas the magnitude of the displacement, this is its initial position, this is its final position. So the straight line between the initial and the final position gives the magnitude of displacement using Pythagoras theorem. This hypotenuse will be equal to under root 4 square plus 3 square, that is under root 25, which is equal to 5 kilometers. Okay, so here the distance is 7 kilometers and the magnitude of the displacement is 5 kilometers. So the magnitude of the displacement can be less than the distance traveled, or it can be equal to the distance traveled when the particle is moving in a straight line. Only in that case, the distance covered will be equal to the magnitude of displacement. Okay, now let's study few differences between distance and displacement. The first difference should be the definition of them. So the distance is defined as the total path length traveled by the moving object, whereas the displacement is defined as it is the shortest distance between the initial and the final position. The next is distance is a scalar quantity because it has got only magnitude, whereas the displacement is a vector quantity. It has got magnitude as well as direction. Distance traveled is always positive, whereas the displacement can be positive, negative or 0. The distance traveled is either equal or greater than the displacement, or we can say that the magnitude of displacement is less than or can be equal to the distance traveled. Distance traveled can never be equal to 0. If the object is moving, the distance traveled will never be equal to 0. Whereas the displacement can be equal to 0. When is it 0? When the particle returns back to its initial position. Okay, the next is distance tells the type of the path followed, whereas the displacement does not tell the type of the path followed. Okay, so if it is given that this is the total path length, we know that what is along which path it has moved. But if the displacement is given, okay, we cannot know that what is the type of path followed. For example, it is given that the displacement is AB. This is the straight line between A and B. This is its initial position. This is its final position. So the displacement is the straight line between A and B. Okay, from this we cannot make out along which path the body has moved. Okay, it might have moved along this path, semicircular path, or it might have moved along the straight line path, or it might have moved along this zigzag path. Okay, but in each case, the displacement, if it has moved along this first path, then also the displacement is AB. If it has moved along this second path, then also the displacement is AB. If it has moved along this zigzag path, third path, then also the displacement is AB. So from, if it is given that AB is the displacement, we cannot tell along which path the particle has moved. Okay, next is speed, which is defined as the ratio of the distance traveled per unit time. That is the distance traveled per unit time. We call it as speed, and its formula is distance upon time. Speed is a scalar quantity. Okay, as it is distance traveled per unit time, the distance can never be negative. So the speed can also be never negative. Speed is always positive, and its SI unit is meter per second, whereas other practical units are taken as kilometer per hour, centimeter per second, etc. Dimensional formula is distance upon time, L upon T, that is L T raised to the power minus 1. Now let's study the different types of speed. The first one is uniform speed. Uniform means constant speed. An object moving with a constant speed is said to be in uniform speed. And when is it possible? If it covers equal distances in equal intervals of time. And such a motion is called as uniform motion. For example, a car moving on a straight road covering 20 kilometers in every half an hour. Okay, so its speed is constant. That is, its speed is 20 kilometer per hour. With the time, its speed is not changing. So such a speed, we call it as uniform speed. So uniform speed means constant speed. And when is it possible? When the particle is in uniform motion. Uniform motion means it's covering equal distances in equal intervals of time. Non-uniform or variable speed, an object will have non-uniform speed, that is variable speed, if it covers unequal distances in equal intervals of time. And such a motion we call it as non-uniform motion. For example, a car moving on a busy road will have non-uniform speed, will have variable speed. The speed of the car will be different at different locations. So its speed is non-uniform. Okay, and whenever the speed is variable, we calculate its average speed, which is defined as the total distance traveled upon the total time taken. Okay, for example, a train moving from Kota to Delhi will have variable speed. Its speed will not be constant in between. It will stop at so many stations. Okay, so its speed is not constant. So whenever the speed is variable, we calculate the average speed. Suppose the distance between Kota to Delhi is 500 kilometers and the train takes 5 hours to complete this journey. So its average speed will be 500 kilometers upon 5 hours, that is 100 kilometers per hour. Whereas the next type of speed is instantaneous speed. Okay, if the speed of an object is found out at a particular instant of time or at a particular point, such a speed is called as the instantaneous speed. Okay, and in vehicles it is found out by a device which is called as speedometer. So the speedometer is fitted in all the vehicles, which gives the instantaneous speed. Okay, then how do we find out the instantaneous speed? This delta x upon delta t is the change in distance with respect to time But if this time interval delta t is very small, that is tending to 0, then this can be written as dx upon dt. So the instantaneous speed is given by dx by dt. So here we have studied that the speed is distance traveled per unit time. It's a scalar quantity. Its unit is meter per second. And the dimensional formula is LT raised to the power minus 1. Then different types of speeds here we have studied. Uniform speed, constant speed, non-uniform or variable speed. The speed is not constant. The speed is varying with the time. And whenever the speed is variable, we calculate average speed, which is given by total distance upon total time. Instantaneous speed, the speed of an object at a particular instant of time. That is, the time interval is very short. Delta t is tending to 0, so this delta x upon delta t can be written as dx upon dt. This is the differentiation of x with respect to time, and such a speed we call it as instantaneous speed. Okay, next is velocity. It is defined as displacement per unit time, or we can say that it is the speed with the direction. So the formula for the velocity is displacement per unit time. Okay, but here the velocity is a vector quantity. Why? Because this displacement is a vector quantity. So velocity is a vector quantity, and as displacement can be positive, negative or 0. So the velocity can also be positive, negative or 0. Whereas the speed is always positive. It can never be 0. It can never be negative. The SI unit of velocity is meter per second, and the dimensional formula is the same like speed, LT raised to the power minus 1. Now here we'll study the different types of velocities. The first one is uniform velocity. Uniform velocity means the speed is constant, as well the direction is the same, because we know that velocity is speed with direction. So the speed should be constant and the direction should not change. Then the velocity is said to be uniform. So uniform velocity, we can also define it as if the body covers equal displacements in equal intervals of time. That is, the body is moving with a constant speed without changing its direction. Without changing its direction means it's moving in a straight line. So if the particle is moving with a constant speed in a straight line, then its velocity is uniform. Uniform means constant velocity. Non-uniform or variable velocity. Okay, if either the speed is changing or the direction is changing or both are changing. As we know that velocity is speed with direction. So either the speed changes or the direction changes, or maybe both speed and direction both are changing. Then the velocity is not constant, and such a velocity we call it as variable velocity. For example, a particle moving on a circular path with a constant speed, the direction of the motion will be changing at every point. So the velocity is not constant, that is, the velocity is variable. Okay, and whenever the velocity is variable, we calculate average velocity, which is defined as total displacement upon total time taken. Okay, now here the total displacement can be 0, so the average velocity can also be equal to 0. So average velocity is defined as the total displacement upon total time. Instantaneous velocity, the velocity at a particular instant of time or at a particular point, we call it as instantaneous velocity. Okay, so delta x upon delta t here is the rate of change of displacement with time. But if the time interval is very small, that is in the limit delta t is tending to 0, this can be written as dx upon dt, which is the differentiation of displacement with respect to time. This we call it as instantaneous velocity. So velocity is displacement per unit time, or you may define it as speed with direction. The velocity can be uniform, means constant, speed is constant, and also the direction is the same, that is, the particle is moving in a straight line. Non-uniform or variable velocity, if the particle is moving with variable velocity, that is, its velocity is changing. And when is it possible? Either the speed changes or direction changes or both are changing. Average velocity, Total displacement upon total time. Instantaneous velocity at a particular instant of time, if the velocity is calculated, it is called as instantaneous velocity. Okay, now let's see the differences between speed and velocity. The first difference should be defining them. Speed is defined as distance traveled per unit time, whereas the velocity is speed with direction, or it can be defined as displacement per unit time. Speed is a scalar quantity because it has got only magnitude. Velocity is a vector quantity which has magnitude as well as direction. Speed is always positive, but the velocity can be positive, negative, or zero. Speed is either equal or greater than the velocity, whereas the magnitude of velocity can be equal or less than the speed. The speed can never be equal to zero, but the velocity can be equal to zero when the displacement is zero, that is the particle returns back to its initial position, then its velocity is zero. Next we'll study about acceleration. So till now we have studied about distance, displacement, speed and velocity. Now the next physical quantity is acceleration, which is defined as the rate of change of velocity with time. That is the change in velocity per unit time, we call it as acceleration. So acceleration is defined as change in velocity per unit time. Its formula will be change in velocity upon the time taken. And acceleration is a vector quantity, that is it has got magnitude as well as direction, and its direction will be along the direction of the change in velocity. SI unit is meter per second upon second, that is meter per second square, and in CGS system its unit will be centimeter per second square. Dimensional formula is L T raised to the power minus 2. Now let's study the different types of acceleration. The first one is uniform acceleration. Uniform means constant acceleration. Okay, the acceleration of an object will be uniform if its velocity changes by equal amounts in equal time intervals. That is, the numerator is changing equally in equal intervals of time. That is, the change in velocity is equal in equal intervals of time. So if the velocity changes by equal amounts in equal intervals of time, then such an acceleration is called as uniform acceleration, and this type of motion is called as uniformly accelerated motion. Okay, so uniform acceleration means constant acceleration. Okay, and the motion will be called as uniformly accelerated motion. And when is it possible? When the change in velocity is equal in equal intervals of time. The next one is variable or non-uniform acceleration. The acceleration of an object will be non-uniform if its velocity changes by unequal amounts in equal intervals of time. Okay, this change in velocity is not equal in equal intervals of time. Then the acceleration is said to be non-uniform. Okay, that is the acceleration is not constant. And such a motion is called as non-uniformly accelerated motion. So if the acceleration is not constant, the motion is called as non-uniformly accelerated motion. Okay, average acceleration. Whenever the velocity is variable, the average acceleration is defined, which is the total change in the velocity upon the total time taken. The next is instantaneous acceleration. The acceleration at a particular instant of time. Okay, at a given point. The acceleration is called as instantaneous acceleration. We know that delta V upon delta T, the change in velocity per unit time, is the acceleration. But if this time interval is very short, delta T is tending to 0, in the limit it is tending to 0, then this can be written as dV upon dt. So this dV upon dt, we call it as instantaneous acceleration. Okay, now here V can be written as dx by dt. So this is instantaneous acceleration is also equal to d2x upon dt square. That is, the instantaneous acceleration is first order differentiation of the velocity with time, or it is the second order differentiation of position with the time. Okay, that is twice you differentiate the displacement, you will get the acceleration. Once you differentiate the velocity, you will get the acceleration. Okay, also this acceleration can be positive or negative. We know that acceleration is the change in velocity per unit time. Acceleration is given by the change in velocity. Suppose initially it is moving with u velocity and after time t it changes its velocity to v. So what is the change in velocity? V minus u, the final velocity minus the initial velocity upon time. Okay, now the acceleration can be positive or negative. If the velocity of an object increases with the time, okay, the velocity is increasing with the time, that is v is greater than u, then v minus u is positive. So the acceleration will be positive. So if the velocity of an object increases with the time, its acceleration is positive. For example, when a bus leaves a bus stop, its acceleration is positive. Why? Because its velocity increases. Whereas if the velocity of the object decreases with time, then its acceleration is negative. So the acceleration will be negative when the velocity is decreasing. That is v is less than u. So v minus u is negative. As v minus u is negative, so the acceleration will be negative. So if the velocity is decreasing with the time, then the acceleration is negative, and this negative acceleration we also call it as retardation or deceleration. When a bus slows down on approaching a bus stop, okay, so its velocity is decreasing and hence the acceleration is negative. Okay, now few points to note down. Uniform motion, the object covers equal distances in equal intervals of time. Okay, so its speed or velocity is constant. So what about its acceleration? If the velocity is constant, that is v is equal to u, what will be its acceleration? Acceleration is equal to 0. Non-uniform motion, if the body covers unequal distances in equal intervals of time, that is its speed or velocity is not constant. So this uniformly accelerated, uniformly retarded motions are non-uniform motions. They are not uniform motions, they are non-uniform motions. Uniformly accelerated and uniformly retarded motions are non-uniform motions. Uniformly accelerated motion, okay, the change in velocity increases by equal amounts in equal intervals of time. So the acceleration will be constant and will be positive. Uniformly retarded motion means the change in velocity decreases by equal amounts in equal intervals of time. The acceleration is again constant, but it will be negative. Okay, then such a motion we call it as uniformly retarded motion. Non-uniformly accelerated motion, the change in velocity is not equal in equal intervals of time. Then such a motion is called as non-uniformly accelerated motion, and its acceleration will not be constant. Its acceleration will be variable. Okay, so uniform motion has zero acceleration. Non-uniform motion, okay, like these are the examples of non-uniform motion: uniformly accelerated motion, uniformly retarded motion, non-uniformly accelerated motions. All these are non-uniform motions. Okay, that is its velocity is not constant, speed or velocity is not constant. Such motions we call it as non-uniform motions. Okay, so here we have studied few definitions. Now in the next part, we'll study the graphical representation of motion. Okay, how graphically the motions can be represented: uniform motion, uniformly accelerated motion, different types of graphs we'll study. So in order to watch that, kindly subscribe to the channel and keep watching. Thank you.